All right, hello dancers. Today we're working on a foam rolling routine for your full body. So if you have a foam roller at home, make sure you grab that and follow along for this 10-minute foam rolling full body workout, you could say. We're gonna work on some flexibility training. We're gonna work on what's called self-myofascial release, which is what a foam rolling routine is working on getting kind of those knots out of the muscles, being able to like help the muscles relax a little bit more, and then especially using it as more of a warm-up or a cool down before dance. So let's get started. Okay, we're gonna start with our foam roller here, and I want you to start with your back. So you're gonna be sitting, put the foam roller right behind your back here. I like to start around like middle of my back, and then I'm gonna lay down onto the foam roller. Now, if you have long hair, I usually like to pull my hair up and hold it so I'm not actually rolling on my hair. All we're gonna do here is with our hands behind our head, we're just rolling back and forth. Now you guys might hear some squeaks out of my foam roller because it's a little squeaky on this floor, so my apologies. Forward and back. And I'm kind of using my feet to press into the floor so I can push down and roll it back and forth. Let's do a couple more times. Good. All right, now come back up. Let's switch to your glutes. So slide the roller right underneath your knees. If you have a longer roller, you can do both legs at the same time, but my roller is a little bit shorter, so I'm just gonna do one leg at a time here. But what I'm gonna do is actually sit on top of the roller. I'm gonna straighten that leg out and bend the other knee in so my foot is on the floor. And then I'm gonna lean over just a little bit and I'm gonna just roll back and forth right on that big glute muscle. And hopefully I'm feeling a little bit of maybe like some tender spots in the muscles too. If you feel like there's a tender spot, you can hold it for about 30 seconds and then slowly roll back out of it again. Another deeper way for this one would be to cross the leg over, kind of like you're doing a figure 4 stretch, and then roll back and forth from there. Good, let's move on. I'm gonna stick to this leg and then I'll go on to the other side. Now let's go into hamstrings. So roller's gonna be right underneath the knee. Same thing, I'm gonna lift my hips up for this one and I'm gonna roll back and forth on the hamstrings with the foam roller. And then make sure you're breathing as you do this. My hamstrings are a little sore today. I did some deadlifts a couple days ago. And when I get to about here, I feel a little bit of tightness. So I'm gonna hold that there and breathe. Breathing is the hardest part to foam rolling in my opinion, because when something usually feels tender and sore, we tense up a little bit and hold our breath. But when we actually breathe, we're helping our body relax, helping those muscles relax, sending signals from the brain down to those muscles through the nervous system to tell those muscles, hey, it's okay to relax and we're okay. All right, now let's move on to the calf. So I want you to start now with the roller right underneath, kind of like the back of the ankle area. And then same thing, I'm gonna lift up and then I'm gonna roll back and forth just up to the knee. Now, calves usually can get pretty tight for a lot of dancers because we're constantly going up onto demi-point, and the calf muscles are responsible for getting our foot up into demi-point or even just pointing our foot. So these muscles can get pretty tight. It's important to roll them out, give them some recovery. You can also kind of turn in and turn out the leg if you would like. Good. All right, now let's relax here. We're gonna switch over to the other side. So I'll turn around so you can see me better. We're gonna have one side sit on top of the roller, other leg, this leg straight. Or you can cross this leg over here and then roll forward and back. So as you're doing this, you might have one side that's tighter than the other. You might feel like it's really, really tense in a lot of different kind of like hot spots, if you will, like knots, muscle knots. Again, if you feel one of those, just hold it and breathe. You can always spend more time rolling out a muscle group. I'm kind of doing about like a minute per muscle group right now. I'm not really timing, but I'm guessing that's about a minute. And that's probably about enough too. You can also do multiple sets. So you can do like maybe 45 seconds, move on, and then come back and do another round. All right, let's do hamstrings on this side. So roller right behind the knee, come on up with those hips, and then roll back and forth here. This side doesn't feel as bad. There is like one spot up at the top where I definitely feel that tension. So I'm gonna hold it here. You can keep rolling if you need to. Good, now let's move on to calves. So roller underneath the ankle here, and then I'm gonna lift up, roll back and forth. You could also roll if you wanna make it deeper. I forgot to say this on the other side, but you can also cross the other leg over and then roll. That way you're like the weight of this top leg is kind of like making that massage a little bit more intense. Let's keep going with the calves on this side. All right, cool, good. We're gonna move on to quads and hip flexors. So what I want you to do is come into a plank position onto your elbows. And then you're gonna put the roller right on top of your legs here. Now I'm gonna try to do both legs at the same time here. If you have a smaller roller, you might only be able to do one side at a time, and that's okay too. What I want you to do is not arch your back down to the floor here, okay? I want you to pull up with your abs, keep your feet on the floor, and then you can use your feet and your elbows to kind of roll you back and forth. So the roller is getting right on the top of the thighs. Now you can stay more in the middle. You can go further up top, and that's gonna be more like the hip flexors, top of the quad. These muscles are big, so there's a lot of different spots that could potentially be tight. Let's go for about 10 more seconds here. Good. All right, bend the knees, come on up. We're gonna do one more part of your body together, and that's your lats. So I want you to put the roller back down on the floor. We're gonna lay onto the side. Actually, I forgot inner thighs, so we're gonna do inner thighs too. But let's do this one first. So I kind of like to put the roller right underneath my armpit first, and then I roll it back just a little bit to find the right spot. Now, I already feel like this is hard to hold because of this tension when you're rolling out your lats. There's different ways to do it. If you can hold behind your head, that would be a little bit harder. For me right now, this feels pretty intense, so I'm gonna keep this hand on the floor. And then you can either find some spots and hold it, or you can roll forward and back. So you do have your rib cage here, so it might feel a little uncomfortable if you get too low and you might be on those bones. Try to roll back just a little bit and then go up and down, because your lats are on either side of the back here and they kind of wrap around, and that's what I want you to feel. Whew. Keep rolling or holding. All right, let's come back up. I'm gonna switch to the other side. It kind of depends on each person. Like one person might feel like they are not as tight. You might have tightness on one side of the body versus the other. And that's more common for dancers who are doing choreography too. If they have choreography, like where they're running a solo or a group dance or some kind of piece of choreography where they're only doing like right side turns or right side leaps. That's called like muscle imbalance between the right and left sides. And you might find that the side that you're doing typically gets a little bit more tense because you're overworking it and not giving it as much of a rest and recovery as the other side. So that's why I always advocate to do both sides in dance technique. In choreography, that's a little bit harder, especially for solos when you want to show off your best side and your cleanest technique. But just make sure, even if that's the case, that you're practicing the other side anyway and being able to still do a double pirouette on the left side or trying to match your technique on both sides as much as you can. All right, hopefully this rolling is feeling a little bit better. Mine's still feeling pretty tense. All right, come back up. We're gonna do one more, and that's the inner thighs. This setup is a little bit different. So I'm gonna still be in that plank position, but I'm gonna move the roller so that it's up and down. And then I'm gonna lay all the way down on the ground, and I'm gonna bend this knee so it goes right on top of the roller. So I'm kind of in like a passe position on the floor, and then I'm gonna roll side to side in that position. So for me, as I get closer up towards my hip, I feel more of that tension. You might feel more tension closer to the knee. And breathe. I almost forgot to breathe too. Do it one more time. And then let's switch sides. We're gonna switch the roller to the other leg. Same setup on this side. One knee bends. And then roll back and forth. This side's not as tight for me. You might find that happening with different muscle groups as well, or you might be surprised by some muscle groups that are tight that you might not have known about. That happens to me quite often. These rolls don't need to be fast at all. Just take your time and breathe. All right, go ahead and come up and relax there. All right, so I hope that this helped you feel ready to dance, or even just after a long workout or a long dance class, helping you kind of recover and let those muscles relax a little bit. Make sure you are doing some sort of self-care and self-myofascial release. That can be really helpful for flexibility training, or especially if you have muscle imbalances and you're trying to do some corrective exercises to even out those alignment issues or that muscular imbalance yourself, then self-myofascial release is definitely a good way to do that, along with other forms of flexibility training too, which we can talk about in other videos. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next week.